Welcome back, campers.
That was Kaitlyn.
And that was Genevieve.
And you have arrived at Camping is Cancelled. Blind read
Boom, 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 boom.
for survival summer. I almost went dun dun dun, but that shouldn't be a bad thing.
Yay!
Tales of survival. I'm really excited that we're doing this because we need some happy endings.
Yeah.
Lord knows we need some happy-ish, I should say, because survival doesn't mean without trauma, without great hardship, but for the survivor, but for the survivor that we are talking about today, there is not a birth date and a day of death, which
yes.
I love that, because so many of our stories, we're saying the day they were born and filling in the gaps between the day they died, but
and I know we both agree that we especially love survivor stories because it focuses solely on the survivor and the person that was affected by the crime, and not the piece of shit that committed the crime and tried to take the life of the victim.
Exactly. Yeah, it's flipping the narrative on its head to being about celebrating the person who survived, not picking apart the psyche of the person who did it to them and weirdly celebritizing them in some way.
Yeah.
So, that being said, today the article that grabbed Kaitlyn and I's attention as we were Googling was written in September 2022 by Sherry Rose for blurredbylines.com. As we've said before, with a blind read, Kaitlyn and I go into it knowing absolutely nothing. We look for a royalty-free site that has a non-paywalled article that is fitting in line with whatever topic we want to discuss that day, and we experience it in real time with you guys. So, the little byline at the top of today's article goes like this. Serial killer Lonnie Franklin, known as the Grim Sleeper, murdered at least 10 women and girls in Los Angeles from the 1980s to 2000s. His only confirmed survivor, Enietra Washington, lived on to testify against him. This is the story of Enietra Washington, the only confirmed survivor of the Grim Sleeper. Lights out, campers.
Oh man, the mountains called my number one. I'm just a life-size lottery ticket in the hand of the one.
Enietra Washington was intended to be the Grim Sleeper's 8th murder victim the day he watched her walk down the street in South Los Angeles. But against all odds, Washington survived Lonnie Franklin Jr.'s attack in the 1980s, not knowing until the 2000s that she was targeted by a serial killer. Largely due to the LAPD's indifference to the murders of young black women in poor neighborhoods, the Grim Sleeper stalked the streets of South LA for decades with little interference from law enforcement. However, as the only confirmed survivor of the Grim Sleeper, Washington's testimony was critical in finally getting one of the city's most prolific serial killers off the street. On the night she crossed paths with the Grim Sleeper, Enietra Washington was a 27-year-old mother of 2 and lifelong resident of South Los Angeles. On November 19, 1988, she walked a familiar route to her friend Linda's house before they were to head to a party together later that evening. While walking, she spotted an orange Pinto with a white racing stripe parked on the side of the street. She stopped to admire the unique vehicle when the owner of the car, Lonnie Franklin, noticed her. "He hollers something," she said in a 2022 interview with I Survived a Serial Killer. "I kept walking and he hollered again, and then I turned around and said, 'I know you're not hollering at me, because if you're going to talk to me, you have to come to where I am.'"
Yes.
Get it.
Yes.
She's like, "I know you're not yelling at me, bitch."
Yeah. Walk this way or walk away.
We already love her.
Mm-hmm.
Washington says that Franklin entered his car and pulled up to her. He was a black man in his early 30s wearing a black polo shirt and khakis, and Washington says he appeared non-threatening. He asked her where she was headed, and she answered truthfully. Franklin offered her a ride to her friend's house, but she declined. Then he threw a line at her that changed her mind. "That's what's wrong with you black women. People can't be nice to you."
Shut up.
Again, the shirt.
Shut up, insert name Lonnie added to the list, right
Ugh.
behind Dennis, all y'all.
After hearing this, Washington says she felt sorry for him and agreed to have him drive her to the house. "Just to prove a point, I was like, since it'll make you feel better, I'll let you take me there," she said. Like,
That says something too right there. She's like, just to prove a point, since it'll make you feel better, I'll let you take me there. That attitude of, oh, I have to look out for his feelings. And then he's being super manipulative of her, using her race against her as a black man, which is just
race and sex.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like, do my legs look broken? No.
No.
Keep riding.
Keep riding
Get
with your
going.
black polo and khakis. Ew.
Ugh. Once in the Pinto, Washington says that the pair enjoyed pleasant conversation. She had no suspicions that anything was amiss until he told her he needed to make a quick stop. Franklin said he had to stop at his uncle's house to pick up some money, and then they'd be back on their way to her friend's house. He drove them to a residential area and entered a nearby home. But when he returned to the car, Washington says his demeanor totally changed.
Oh.
Be in the driver's seat.
Goodbye.
Bye. Franklin became agitated and angry, accusing her of dogging him or disrespecting him. Then he called her by another woman's name. Oh, God.
Oh.
Confused, Washington turned to face him. Then everything went silent. Without warning, he shot her in the chest with a .25 caliber gun.
Oh.
That escalated so quick.
Not pulled it on her, went straight to shooting. Okay, we're just going to continue. In the moments after Lonnie Franklin shot her, Enietra Washington says she never even heard the gunshot. All she heard was silence. "He shot me point blank in my chest," Washington said in 2022. "But I didn't realize I'd been shot. I didn't hear no gun and I didn't see blood. But I knew something was really wrong." Washington instinctively reached for the door handle to escape, but he said, "Bitch, I'll shoot you again." That's when the horrifying realization hit her. In shock, she began pleading with Franklin to let her out of the vehicle. Quote, "I was like, please just let me out of your car," she said, "because if I do die, I'm going to ask the Lord, let me haunt you the rest of your life so that you know you couldn't get away with this." But the grim sleeper continued driving the streets of South LA as Washington felt herself losing consciousness in his car. "I was starting to feel woozy. I was getting weak. I kept fading in and out. And then all of a sudden, I passed out." It's incredible to me that she was awake at all.
I mean, adrenaline is a crazy thing. And that had to be what was like getting her body was protecting herself.
Yeah. Good God. And also that she had just been shot in the chest and was like, if you better hope I don't die or I'm going to haunt you the rest of my life.
Dragging your ass to hell, bitch.
A queen. So when Washington awoke some hours later,
Good
she
Lord.
found herself still in his Pinto, but it was dark outside. She felt pressure on her chest and tried to push it off. "And then I heard this laugh," she said. "He was on top of me doing something. I started fighting, but it was like I was paralyzed. And then I let out this long scream. I knew I was going to die." She passed out again. Sometime later, she woke up to flashing lights. Washington realized he was taking Polaroid pictures of her. "I was weak. I just slumped against the seat," she said. "And then he started driving. I was feeling on the door. I wasn't even sure what was the door handle. I was hoping it was. Eventually, Washington managed to open the car door as the vehicle was moving, and Franklin simultaneously pushed her out onto the street. She landed hard on the asphalt in the middle of the road. I was afraid he might drive back. I rolled to the curb, got up, and I saw the blood, she said. Despite this serious gunshot wound to her chest, Washington dragged herself to the sidewalk and began walking to find help. She kept walking until she found street signs she recognized. Washington knew she wasn't far from Linda's house, the destination she had been heading toward hours earlier. In shock and bleeding, Washington stumbled to her friend's home and pounded on the front door. But no one answered because Linda had already left for the party. No. So she laid down on the porch and waited for her friend to arrive. Sometime in the night, Linda did return home and called an ambulance.
How terrifying. She gets shot in the chest, passes out, wakes up. He's on top of her doing God knows what. She passes out again, wakes up, him taking pictures of her, goes to sleep, wakes up, gets kicked out of the fucking car while it's moving.
And she said she opened the car door and he was like, yeah, let me just help you out there. Shoved her out on... That's so fucked up.
Like, everything he did to her, I want to do to him tenfold. Holy cow.
Now, that would be a nice haunting loop to have to relive, but it being done to him, you know, just over and over.
And I know times are different, but Linda, your friend said she was going to be there to go with you. She didn't show up. Linda, I'm not blaming you by any means, but...
No. It's just like one of those things that maybe Linda had left like 30 seconds earlier, that she had waited and waited and then was like, all right, well, I guess she just, you know, she's got a kid. Maybe she just decided not to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the 80s, so you can't text.
Exactly.
You just... I was listening to another podcast. It was a case actually in the 80s where someone was abducted and ultimately murdered who had been supposed to pick up their boyfriend from his work after she left her job, and he was just stewing there getting mad at her, being like, why did she's just like flaked on me and is hanging out with friends or hooking up with someone.
Natural reaction.
Yeah, and that there was all this time that passed while he waited and didn't hear anything, and that's so unheard of now in this day and age because we have texting and the GPS stuff on your phone, or you're texting or calling the people you know they're usually with or their work.
Yeah.
But he's just, and like in this situation, you're almost as good as in like the pasto times because you don't have an instant way to contact anyone.
And that was normal not to, like, if somebody flaked, somebody flaked. They didn't have to give you like a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And your first thought isn't murder.
Yeah. So you either have to be where you say you're going to be, or people just assume that you decided. Like, your first assumption isn't going to be they're dead. Yeah. Whereas or they've been attacked.
Ours is.
Yeah.
Like,
but
anytime Jacob's like, I'm like, he's dead. He got in a car accident.
But isn't that interesting, though, is that we're used now to being so connected.
Yeah.
That if we don't get an immediate text response, or like you can see that the other person has read your message, that we immediately get anxious.
Jen,
oh my
earlier
God.
this week with me, she messaged, she said, bitch, you better not be hanging from your stairwell.
I meant it too. I was like, I am sitting out here until you let me in your house.
But gosh.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
It really is.
I mean, it's amazing though, throughout all that. Like, she somehow was still in the area that she could walk to her friend's house, lay on her porch, and Linda still got there within time to get an ambulance to her.
And who knows how many hours she was in the car with that man, and how much blood she had lost.
Like, well, and then she falls out of freaking car. Think of like the road rash, like, who knows?
Yeah, concussed, like God knows what.
Washington was rushed to Harbor UCLA Medical Center in Torrance. The single bullet had collapsed one of her lungs.
Oh.
See, and my whole I'm like, oh, it had to have just like narrowly missed everything vital.
No, literally collapsed one of her
Ugh.
lungs. Yeah, I honestly thinking of like, you know how in the movies the only chest shot people survive is when they get shot kind of like in the upper part of the chest, but it like goes under your shoulder blade and
Yeah.
out the back in a fleshy part. Still brutal
Or even
injury.
like through the ribs, but again,
Yeah.
you're somehow just narrowly missing something.
But no, she
Oof.
received a fatal gunshot wound.
And the 27-year-old spent a total of 3 weeks in the hospital.
God.
Despite the point-blank shot, her ribs and sternum mercifully deflected the bullet.
Oh,
It missed her internal organs entirely. That's
Damn.
crazy.
damn.
While recovering in the hospital, Washington learned that Franklin sexually assaulted her after she lost conscious that night. I had been raped, but I didn't remember anything, she said in an interview on I Survived a Serial Killer.
Honestly,
Blessing.
thank God for small mercies. Like, horrible. I'm not making light of that
No.
at all. I'm saying, like, of all the traumatic shit you've been through, at least you don't have to relive
Yeah.
that. God.
As she recuperated, Washington tried to piece together why this man would shoot her in an apparently random attack. She also feared he may try to kill her again.
Yeah.
Now I'm really worried because I didn't know where he was or who he was, she said. How do I know he's not going to come after me?
Or, like, he could have been stalking her for all she knew.
I mean, yeah.
Ugh.
Ugh. A couple days after the attack in South LA, detectives from the Los Angeles Police Department visited her in the hospital. She gave a statement and described Lonnie Franklin's physical appearance to a sketch artist. I think about this all the time. Jen, I could not describe you to a sketch artist. I could not describe my mom to a sketch artist.
I will have to do a deep dive sometime into, there's like a very specific set of questions and a different type of training that a good sketch artist has in order to be able to do what they do. But it's really uncanny how in some cases they're able to actually capture the likeness of some of these people from just pure memory alone. But I completely agree.
Like,
I don't know how you
I don't
would
know
do
what
that.
Jacob's face shape is.
Yeah.
It's just his face.
And wasn't it at night too that she
Well, it was like
walking?
in the evening.
Oh,
then,
in the evening.
Then it was dark.
Okay.
Now, you, Jen, it was a realization when we were in Florence
Mm-hmm.
and we were in that museum and
Yeah.
all those statues, and I saw you next to one. I'm like, okay, Genevieve looks like one of those like I don't know if they were Greek ones. I don't know which statue they were, but like I was like, okay, Jen has the silhouette, like the face
Aw.
structure of those statues, and I was like, if I ever have to report her missing and I don't have any pictures somehow, I'm like, okay, a statue in Florence.
Oh, well, thank you. At least it was that and not one of those like fat naked baby angels.
No. I was like, holy cow, you like, it's your nose, like your
Oh,
face,
yeah.
nose, and eyes.
I have
like-
that kind of like, there's like a term for it, but it's like a Greek, like where you have like a long, thin nose and like the high
Mm-hmm.
cheekbones. But yeah,
And it was
is
the
a
way your
distinct
hair
look.
was, the
Aw.
girls had their hair like that. And I was
Oh, the
like, Jen is
bun.
that.
Aw,
It was really
thank
crazy.
you.
But yeah, I genuinely, it amazes me, sketch artists.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Whew. However, Washington said the LAPD detectives suggested she was a sex worker. In an attempt to explain why she would get into his car.
Like that matters. It doesn't matter why she got in his car. In explaining like then or trying to rationalize why she got attacked, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of myself getting mad at them yet, because I could see where like if they know she's a sex worker,
Okay, but
that could help if they are able to pinpoint
Yeah.
like these are certain men who have had a reputation among sex workers.
Yeah.
Like as long as it's not a way of her being dismissed, but we see that happen so many times in these cases that I'm immediately like, why do they need to know that so bad?
I'm more inclined to lean towards the like, because she is a young black woman in the 80s and then you're throwing in the sex working. I feel like it's more of a insult.
Oh,
More like
1,000%.
profiling.
Oh, 1,000%.
Not
They're
trying
just
to
like,
help them.
aren't you? Well, what were you doing
Well,
out
you would
walking?
only get in the car if you needed money.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the irony of him pulling up beside her and being like, nobody can help you women, no one can offer to do anything nice for you. And then here's these officers being like, well, why did you get in the car with
Nobody
him,
would
a
do
strange
something
man?
nice like that for you.
Yeah. Or you wouldn't get in a car with a man unless you were a sex worker. Like, what? 0 to sex worker immediately. Ugh.
Gosh.
God.
Obviously, she says she fought that allegation and was furious with the suggestion.
As she's
Like,
lying there with a bullet
exactly.
hole in her chest. God. And I'm sorry, but who cares if she was at that point? It doesn't
Exactly.
matter.
Like, I still have a collapsed lung. I'm still like, I mean, I was still raped. Like, there was sex that was had. It was not sex, it was
Non-consensually.
rape.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh. After the bullet was removed from Washington's chest, police linked it to a .25 caliber gun that had been used in other cold cases in South Los Angeles. The LAPD knew they were dealing with a serial killer by the time of Enietra Washington's attack in 1988, but kept that information a secret from her and the wider public. In fact, the LAPD refused to even publicly acknowledge a serial killer was targeting Black women in South LA until 2008.
What?
Holy cow. This omission essentially provided Lonnie Franklin with free rein to kill whomever he wanted as the Grim Sleeper, largely unimpeded by the Los Angeles Police Department for decades.
That's crazy.
And I know we kind of saw that with Dennis Rader.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they weren't certain, and then they were like, and then they were like, they sent it out.
Yeah, because they're trying not to cause mass panic and whatever. But
like, you have evidence that somebody is targeting a very specific demographic. It should at least be a news broadcast.
A suspect. I mean, that's a long dang time. 1988
20
to
years
2008.
after her.
Yeah.
After her shooting.
Yeah.
She would have been the 8th victim. So there were 7 before her.
That is wild. Yeah, that seems like it's time to maybe suggest that there is one.
I mean, but that's also literally somebody's career is over, potentially, by the time they release it. Like, the people who
begun working on it, yeah. Yeah, you're totally right.
Ugh. I was not expecting 2008.
No. So, like Enietra Washington, Lonnie Franklin Jr. was born and raised in South Los Angeles. In the 1970s, he joined the Army and was stationed in Germany. In 1975, he received a dishonorable discharge after being convicted of gang raping a 17-year-old girl with 2 other soldiers. He served less than 1 year in prison for the attack. Disgusting.
You know what? Bring back public humiliation.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back public tomato throwing at people.
Ugh. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Franklin worked as a trash collector for the city and was even hired as a mechanic for the LAPD. He married a woman named Sylvia, and they had 2 children together. Franklin's first confirmed murder victim was a 29-year-old woman named Deborah Jackson, whom he killed on August 10th, 1985. Authorities now believe he killed a 21-year-old woman named Sharon Dismuke 1 year earlier, but they did not have enough evidence to formally charge him in her murder. By the time Franklin crossed paths with Washington, he had already murdered at least 7 other Black women in South LA. During this period in Los Angeles, a crack epidemic was raging in the city. Neither the police nor local media paid much attention to the killings of young Black women in those poor neighborhoods. Many of the Grim Sleeper's victims were believed to be sex workers and drug users, which contributed to the relative indifference with which their murders were treated. Despite the ever-growing body count of young women found murdered with the same weapon and dumped in alleys, dumpsters, and streets, their deaths barely made local news. The murders quickly became cold cases, and the LAPD failed to form an investigative task force or even seemingly make any effort to find the killer. The insane thing to me about this is that they knew that the bullets were from the same gun. We're not talking about random... Yes, there was a lot of random killings, and that's what they're acknowledging here, because it is a statistical fact that when you have areas where drugs are flowing, the murder rates are going to be higher because of gang activity and like drug-induced violence. One, that doesn't mean that those people's lives are any less valuable or that they're any less victims of murder, but you can not even make the argument, but the observation that in that time with an overworked police department, people could be falling through the cracks when it comes to the murder investigations. But when there's a pattern established that is setting them apart with something so extreme as that bullet.
It's no longer one like random person found dead in like a drug run area.
Yeah.
You're now being able to link
Exactly.
multiple people, but you don't give the care because of their demographic.
Exactly. Which to me then says, I'm like, don't give me the excuse of being overworked, underplayed, blah, blah, blah. You know what is happening. These women are being murdered, but you don't care. They're less dead to you because they are women of color who maybe were using drugs and using sex work to survive. Who fucking cares?
But, like, they did the work to get to that conclusion. They just... Like, they did the work, they did the investigation, they did stuff, and then they just stopped.
Yeah.
What?
Because they just don't care that these women are being killed.
Oh my gosh.
So, in 1989, an anonymous whistleblower leaked to local media outlets that the ongoing killings of Black women in South LA were the work of a serial killer. However, the LAPD refused to publicly admit a serial killer was responsible and did not warn residents of the dangers facing Black women in particular. As a result, Lonnie Franklin had greater ability to target and kill more victims without arousing suspicion from locals.
Also, he was a hired mechanic for the LAPD.
He was right under their noses.
He literally got dishonorably discharged for gang raping a minor. Okay. Every single one of Lonnie Franklin's victims was killed with the same weapon, a .25 caliber gun. Their bodies were discovered in South Los Angeles neighborhoods, and they were all shot in the chest. Furthermore, the victims were all young Black women. Despite the exceedingly obvious facts that a serial killer was responsible for at least 7 murders and Washington's attempted killing throughout the 1980s, the LAPD kept that information a secret from the public and the victims' families. That's
inexcusable.
13 years after Washington's attack and subsequent survival, the LAPD started sifting through a massive backlog of unsolved murders from the 1980s and 1990s. Over the next few years, they began connecting evidence from killings that involved the same weapon. I'm sorry. Like, truly, there are so many people nowadays. You don't need to, like, spend years doing this. Give it to one person with fucking ADHD and some Adderall, and those connections are made within like a day's of work.
It's so right though. Like, you let some civilians sit through a class, they get their own little accounts on these like cataloging systems, and bam.
So easy.
I don't remember how exactly that I arrived at this conversation with Josh and Sam the other night, but I basically was like, guys, I have the most brilliant idea for a video game ever. And the video game is basically this, where you are a character and you're given real cold case information. Everything that has been made available, you're given access to. And obviously it has to be, it's a little bit of a gray area because it feels like you're kind of exploiting that tragedy or whatever. But the premise of it is that when you get to the end of the game, you then have to present basically your findings and make a case for who you think the perpetrator was and how you think it happened. And then, like, let's just say you have several 100,000 people combing through that evidence and maybe they arrive at a conclusion that investigators didn't beforehand, but it could be just another, not convicting someone, but a tool then that investigators could be like, okay, maybe this is a new angle I'm going to look into that I didn't think to do before, because like you said, we've got, 10,000 people out here with high functioning autism out here obsessing over these cold case details. I'm just saying, I think there could be something there.
Okay, let's kickstart this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I would be up all hours.
I know, right? And that the
Ooh.
families would have to, like, the families of the victims would have to provide consent for that to happen, so it wouldn't just be this, like, willy-nilly thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think about how it could be done in a way that is ethical, because it already happens anyway on the internet. But why not make it happen in a controlled environment where the information is immediately being
that's
banked?
Pretty much what the subreddit, the Grateful Doe, they do, because they just go through databases. They find a Jane or a John Doe, and then they look at like everything where they were found, like all their specs, and then they go and find somebody that went missing. Like, and I find so many where they're like, I submitted it and it was a match, or I submitted it and they had never heard it. It didn't match, but it was something that they were able to like. And there could be like the court transcripts, crime scene photos. There could be these walkthroughs, like visual aids of like the playing out of the crime, or, when you hear something told, a lot of times it helps them to have a visual to be like, like one of the stories that we told about the kid that was out walking and then he just vanished. You can give an idea of the place, the time, the miles that he allegedly walked. But if you have a visual, a map, and then somebody is sitting in front of a screen literally walking through it themselves, then how much more likely could you be to come up with a viable answer? Yeah. But even if it was just the files, you get 10 people looking through it. You have fresh set of eyes. And then you're like, hey, this page I think you should look at. Then that takes away from the investigators having to sift through. Yeah. And they just get blinded by like turning pages. I would play that game.
I 1,000% would. And I would probably spiral into a state of mental unhealth. But I think there's something there in just saying.
Gosh.
Anyways, back to the real the real story.
But I mean, at least so it was 13 years after the attack, they started sifting through the massive backlog?
Well, and that the only reason they did it is because either pressure was put on them from the outside, or people,
that leak.
There was I
feel like that leak was a blessing.
Yes, and that there was fresh blood coming in and be like, we're doing things differently now.
Over the next few years, they began connecting evidence from killings that involved the same weapon. Eventually, police discovered evidence found at the scene of a South LA murder from 2002 matched that of an unsolved murder from the 1980s.
Wild.
So obviously, still happening. In 2006, Enietra Washington was approached by 2 LAPD detectives. Finally, she learned the truth that she had survived an attack from a serial killer, albeit 18 years later. Later that same year, the LAPD connected the Grim Sleeper's DNA to 2 LA murders committed in 2002 and 2003.
Dang. This is like some Dennis shit where he's murdering over decades.
It's wild. Decades after his first killing, Franklin was still operating in South LA and attacking women in the early 2000s. Even still, the LAPD refused to inform the public deep breaths,
Lord.
that a serial killer was stalking and killing women in their neighborhood. In 2007, the LAPD quietly formed a task force for finding the serial killer. But police failed to inform families of victims that their loved ones were murdered by the same serial killer from decades earlier. The task force, called 800 Task Force, remained a secret. That was a lame name.
Right.
Lame. Earlier in the year, the Grim Sleeper claimed another victim, a 25-year-old black woman named Janisha Peters, who was found dead on January 1st, 2007.
Jeez.
However, journalists from LA Weekly, an alternative newspaper based in the city, learned about the undisclosed task force. In winter 2007, LA Weekly broke the story that a serial killer in South LA had been committing murders since the 1980s.
Finally.
Ooh, journalists, they keep working.
Thank you.
The story also confirmed that the LAPD failed to inform the public, and police still had no suspect. What's crazy is they do have his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, like, it was still up and coming DNA, what we know now.
Yeah, the
But you would
CODIS
think
and all
that
that.
they have, like, records because he was in the military. You would think that they would have something.
Yeah, and it also makes me wonder what happened. And I'm so sorry to be graphic, but was there a sexual assault examination kit performed on the girl that he attacked? Where was evidence of that kept? I know that the Army has their own stuff, right, separate from...
I mean, I guess, too, it's, again, we're doing our Hawkeye vision. It all comes down to they would have to then reach out to the military, like, guess that, like, oh, maybe our suspect was in the military, so then let's, like,
yeah, like, he would have had
compare.
to have been profiled well enough for them to go that route.
So I guess it's easier to think, but still.
Yeah.
You've had almost 30 years to think of something.
To go down every possible lane. But I do see the point that you're making is that there was nothing there. At least they've not even talked about having a profile built of him at this point.
And they don't have something as easy as CODIS where you just enter something and it goes through all, like, everything.
Yeah. Whereas with people like Dennis Rader, when there's almost like the way that the victims are found, it's easier to profile based off of a pathology of the way that the people are killed and assaulted.
And how he left the crime scenes.
Yes.
Whereas we're not really getting much information on that, just a shared chest wound and dumped in an alley.
Yeah. And if they're being dumped outdoors, we also don't know when they're being found. So there could have been a much higher level of decomp that had happened. We just don't know if they had anything really at all besides the bullet.
Had Enietra died, all he did was kick her out of the moving vehicle. So she would have just been on the side of the road dead. And that wouldn't have given much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
No indication where they were picked up or anything like that.
Yep.
So... what a mess.
So I know we love to rag on the police when needed, but we do have to give some benefit of the doubt that they're not working with everything we have now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So, and I don't know everything either. I just like to pretend I do.
Yeah, because that's what we can do.
It's our
podcast.
We're
opinionated millennials.
The paper dubbed the unknown serial killer as the Grim Sleeper, because it appeared he stopped attacking women throughout the 1990s.
Oh.
I was wondering how that would come in.
Yeah. Yeah, where the sleeping angle came in. Yeah.
However, authorities now believe Lonnie Franklin may have killed more victims during that period, but their bodies were never recovered.
Ooh.
Families of the Grim Sleeper's murder victims learned their loved ones were killed by a serial killer through an LA Weekly's article.
Oh my gosh.
Most families were never informed by the LAPD and instead learned the true fate of their deceased daughters and sisters through the journalists' covering of the case.
That's awful. That you're just reading the paper and then you're like, wait, That's my sister's name. That's my daughter's name.
Like, I know
That's...
tacky's not the word for it, but it is so just like, ugh. It's disgusting.
It's incredibly traumatizing for the family.
Mm.
It's not the way that they should be being told.
Yeah.
But I also understand what the paper is trying to do and being like, we have to get this out there as quickly as possible. But yeah.
In September 2008, the LAPD finally acknowledged these murders were due to a serial killer and offered $500,000 reward money for information to catch the Grim Sleeper. Major media outlets picked up the story and it became national news. I was 12, so I don't
You were the baby.
I didn't know this.
I don't remember hearing about this.
I've never heard of the Grim Sleeper.
Yeah, but I also didn't really watch the news.
No.
Like, the news just wasn't really on in my house. So...
I mean, I watched crime stuff at that age, but I don't recall this.
Yeah.
And that's to say that it probably wasn't broadcasted as much as it should have been because of the demographic of the victims.
That's very true.
So... In February 2009, Los Angeles Chief William Bratton spoke publicly about the serial killer. This was the first time an LAPD police chief publicly acknowledged this serial killer was on the loose in the city 24 years after Franklin's first confirmed killing.
By 2009, Los Angeles police still did not have a suspect in the Grim Sleeper case. But the department caught a break when Franklin's 28-year-old son, Christopher, was convicted on a weapons charge. The LAPD discovered a familial match from Christopher's DNA connected to evidence found at the past crime scenes. Okay, so they did have some DNA. They were just sitting on it.
Yeah.
Sitting on it. Detectives then focused on Lonnie Franklin as a potential suspect. They went undercover and collected Franklin's DNA from utensils he used at a pizza restaurant. It matched the DNA found at the scenes of murders dating all the way back to 1985. On July 7th, 2010, Lonnie Franklin was arrested and charged in the murders of 9 women and 1 teenage girl. He was also charged in the attempted killing of Enietra Washington. Franklin's arrest came a full 25 years after he committed his first confirmed murder. At Franklin's home, investigators uncovered more than 1,000 photos and videos of mostly black women dating back to the 1980s. Many of the photos were Polaroids of victims who appeared unconscious or dead.
I know it's not like a locked basement. We don't know for sure yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no like deep cleaner like all the time. And I believe in privacy, but there is nothing in my house that I am not aware of.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
I cannot get access to.
I know what you're talking about.
And I won't be snooping through. So how the fuck does he have 1,000 photos and videos?
I mean, some people, you never know what's going on in other people's houses. You never know.
Maybe I'm like too much of a clean freak because I'm like, what is this weird thing right here? Okay. What?
Yeah.
Trash? No? Polaroids of naked women? Calling the cops.
Immediate cops. Do you know what it makes me think of is when we covered the prom night murders, the 1969 prom night murders, Marshall Wayne Stouffer, that perpetrator, he kept a duffel bag where he had bukus of Polaroids that he took of victims, and also just creepy photos he took of him stalking people. And I mean, it's got to be like a trophy thing.
Oh,
you know, like a way to reminisce, but that just makes me feel so unwell. So after Franklin's arrest, Washington says that LAPD detectives paid her a visit. They brought a Polaroid photo they wanted her to examine. It was her own 27-year-old self, unconscious and bleeding, slumped over in Franklin's car in a photo he took the night of her attack 22 years earlier. Jeez.
I can't even imagine, like, the slap of emotions and, like, I mean, numbness. Ugh, that would
Yeah.
bring.
Ugh, that's awful.
Lonnie Franklin Jr. was charged with 10 murders spanning from 1985 to 2007. Authorities believe he may have killed at least half a dozen other women, but prosecutors did not have enough evidence to charge him. Many of his suspected victims' bodies have never been found. All of Franklin's victims were killed with the same weapon, a .25 caliber handgun, and their bodies were discovered throughout South LA. 6 years after his arrest, the criminal trial of Lonnie Franklin finally began on February 16, 2016. As the Grim Sleeper's only confirmed survivor, Enietra Washington took the stand to testify against her attempted killer.
Y'all, there's a photo of this man.
Ugh, yeah,
He is a
genuinely...
He is a true jump scare.
I scrolled back up because I didn't want to see his eyes as I read this.
Ugh. There is nothing
Ugh.
in those eyes. Evil. Ugh.
My name is Enietra Margette, and I'm one of your little pickups. The sass, I love her. She said on the witness stand, turning to face him in court. I really think you are truly a piece of evil. You're right up there with Manson.
Mm-hmm.
The hurting part about it is that you did it to your own. You put my life in fear of people I should be proud of. It has to be hate for women, your own kind, she continued. I don't have no closure because I'm still living. It's a good thing. I pray to God. I thank you every day for it. She concluded on the witness stand, but because you blackmailed me, being a black woman, knowing that I'm supposed to give you respect, and you took it away. So how am I supposed to give that to someone else? So now you got that yourself. How's your family supposed to give it to you? On May 5th, 2016, Lonnie Franklin was found guilty on all counts, 31 years after he killed his first confirmed victim. He was sentenced to death 1 month later.
Damn.
In March 2020, Franklin died on death row at San Quentin prison. Even at the time of this published article, authorities have never released an official cause of death for the notorious Grim Sleeper.
You know what? I hope it was slow. So why did it take the police so long to catch the Grim Sleeper? Franklin was not a serial killing mastermind. He used the exact same weapon in every murder and attacked women mostly within the same 10 fucking block radius in South Los Angeles. Okay, this whole time I've been picturing, because I know LA is huge.
Yeah, I'm picturing the whole, Tri-County.
Yeah.
What?
10 blocks.
10 blocks, and you couldn't station one fucking police officer to, patrol those 10 blocks?
And that's even more enraging than that they didn't tell them that someone was hunting them. At least 6 of his victims' bodies were found within a few blocks of his home. Why did the LAPD refuse to warn residents that a serial killer was targeting young black women for 23 years, allowing Franklin to stalk and kill victims without awareness from local residents? The fact is that the Los Angeles Police Department has no good excuse for handling the Grim Sleeper case the way it did. Franklin killed poor black women whose lives didn't matter much in the eyes of police or local media. Only after LA Weekly broke the story in 2007 did the LAPD even begrudgingly acknowledge that a serial killer was on the loose and had been operating unabated for over 20 years. I guarantee you, Kaitlyn, that this is also a large part of why we didn't hear anything about this, because I think about the core memories I have of a kid, during this time frame, 2002 to 2008, I remember hearing about Timothy McVeigh. I remember there being stories still run about the survivors of Ted Bundy this many years later, of Jeffrey Dahmer, I remember hearing about Israel Keys. I remember hearing about
Elizabeth Smart,
J.C.
Dugard.
Exactly. The list could go on, but not once did I ever hear about this, because that's such a distinctive name. You would remember hearing the Grim Sleeper. In a 2014 documentary called Tales of the Grim Sleeper, Nick Broomfield spoke with Christopher Franklin, Lonnie's son. Christopher said he had once met with LAPD officers, and many of them asked to shake his hand.
Hey, thanks for getting the gun charges. You led us to your piece of shit father. Honestly, I'd shake his hand too.
I was not expecting this next part. Christopher said, quote, "Some police officers actually admired Lonnie for, in their words, cleaning up the streets," the documentary states. "That seemed to me too incredible that a serial killer could be a person who was respected within certain sections of law enforcement." So I think, Kaitlyn, the joke you were making was that they were thanking him for getting a weapons charge so that they could
never
finally
mind.
have caught
Fucking hell.
his dad. But no.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting.
Ugh.
Cleaning up the streets is so
Hell.
disgusting. That's so sick that somebody who has sworn an oath to protect and serve everyone deems like another human beneath them.
Or that they are something that needs to be cleaned
Disgusting.
up.
That's so disgusting.
And it
Oh
wasn't
my gosh.
my face is burning
I-
on
like,
top of being sunburned. It's burning even
My
more.
neck is like tingling with rage.
Ugh. And it wasn't just one bad police chief that kept the Grim Sleeper a secret from the public and victims' families. Multiple LAPD police chiefs, including Daryl Gates, Willie Brown, and William Bratton, chose to conceal the unknown serial killer was targeting Black women in South LA for decades. It's beyond inexcusable. But regardless of police inaction, Enietra Washington, who uses the last name Margette today, continues to move on with her life. As the Grim Sleeper's only confirmed survivor, though a woman named Monica Hunter came forward recently in 2018, Margette says she feels blessed to be alive. Quote, "I finally settled down and was able to do things and live life," she said in 2022. "I really don't consider myself a survivor, because a survivor just survives day to day. I am going further. I'm a conqueror."
I found the names of the 10 women confirmed to have been killed, so I'm just going to read them real quick.
Yes, please do.
Deborah Jackson was 29, Henrietta Wright, 34 to 35, Barbara Ware, 23, Bernita Sparks, 26, Mary Lowe, 26, Lucretia Jefferson, 22, Alicia Monique Alexander, 18, Princess Berthomew, 15, Valerie McCorvey, 35, and Janisha Peters, 25. I'll just name the suspected and the missing ones as well. We have Alea Marshall, 18, missing since 2005. Rolina Morris, 29, missing since 2005. Catherine Davis, 33, missing since 1982. Rosalind Gills, 27, missing since 1991. Lisa Knox, 29, missing since 1993. And Anita Parker, 37, missing since 1988.
Wow. And that's not to mention whatever he was up to when he was in Germany. I would be shocked if there was not murders happening over there.
Like you said, I'm imagining all of Los Angeles. And so that's where I'm like, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. They have a lot to work.
I'm picturing sprawling, winding cityscapes.
10 blocks, and then you're gonna tell me they were somewhere dumped blocks from his home. You could have just
God.
started from the fucking center and worked your way out slowly and solved it within a fucking week.
And within 10 blocks, too, that's like people are going to know people. They're going to be in each other's homes, frequenting the same businesses,
You know
working at
what?
the same places.
We don't even have to waste our breath like being pissed because they did nothing. They didn't even like
Maybe they even knew.
They were thank you for cleaning up the streets.
Ugh.
They genuinely did not care.
With somebody who worked for the LAPD as a mechanic. That's also what is mind-blowing. That he was up their ass working on their cars.
I'm disgusted. And I'm not, it's disgusting too that I'm not shocked.
No. I just want to take a moment again to say thank you again to Sherry Rose, who was the owner and writer of this article and the owner of the site Blurred Bylines. She has a great little blurb at the bottom of this article where she shares with us that she created Blurred Bylines in an effort to bring stories from marginalized perspectives into the national conversation. She was a former copy editor at some big newspapers in Arizona and Colorado, and she writes that she has seen firsthand the potential of accurate and accessible information to change minds and affect national policy. Her stories focus on individuals fighting for justice and their own rights as Americans, survivors of violent crime who rebuilt their lives after tragedy, shifting political trends that seek to strip the LGBTQ+ community and other minority groups of their freedoms, and forgotten figures in U.S. history whose fights for equality persist today. So we will definitely link this article in the show notes. That was a really great in-depth look, I think, into a case that Kaitlyn and I had never heard about. And Enietra Washington, or Enietra Margette, as we should say she goes by today, you are a badass conqueror.
Yes,
conquering queen. Queen. And
I know
everything
you're
that
not
you
hollering
said.
at me.
And then gets on the stand and looks this motherfucker in the face and said, hi, I'm one of your little pickups, sir.
You didn't get me.
Ugh,
And
certainly
you didn't
not.
get me, and those who you did got will not be forgotten.
There's a great picture of her with a friend right before a press conference to discuss his arrest, and she just absolutely looks like somebody who you would want a hug from.
Ugh.
Like the kind of hug that would like heal you. So amazing. So amazing.
I mean, this is the point of our Survivor Summer series. It's nice to smile at the end of
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. And for the victim to not stay the victim, to be the conqueror. But
gosh, for her to get her justice despite the LAPD being absolute pieces of human feces.
My God, I would have been giving them the side eye that
I think,
entire time.
fuck you and you and you and you and you.
Jeez.
Like, while I have the stand, I'd like to say some
I'm gonna
things.
just take a moment.
The mic is mine. Gosh.
Absolutely. Good Lord. I hope they all felt ashamed.
You know they didn't. You know those
No.
types of people don't.
You're right. I just like to
Because they
think
have a
it.
whole community that support them and their
Yeah.
views. And
Ugh. But I completely agree. Bring back public shaming for anyone who is in a position where your job it is to serve and protect.
Yep.
And you're not doing it because you are a dark-hearted person.
Nope. Respect is earned, not given. They have not earned their respect. Tomato them.
Tomato. But like a giant one.
Yeah.
Like a
with a
giant
catapult.
one. Full of mouse traps. That just
mouse shit.
full of mouse shit.
So it seeps into their wombs.
What kind of disease is it that mouse shit holds? There's like some kind of...
Well, I think that's the reason the one virus on the cruise ship, I think that's how it got started.
Oh, really?
That virus, at least.
The one that's like happening now?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That one, like they
God.
say, it's from, poop is bad, okay? Doesn't matter where it comes from. That's what we're ending on today, guys.
After all that deep talk, poop is bad.
Poop is bad no matter what shit it
Jeez.
is. Oh, guys.
Should we do a what's blowing up our skirt
Ooh.
real quick?
Sure.
I mean, Enietria's words
she
throughout
gave me life.
that my skirt was blowing up. My skirt was a parachute. It was blowing up so
I
high.
want a shirt that says, I know you're not hollering at me.
Oh my
like,
God.
I want her, like, I would ask
Yes.
the Lord to, like, allow me to, like, her whole, like, if I die.
She definitely
back.
had bumper sticker worthy
Ooh.
one-liners.
You want to start your blowing up the skirt?
Mm,
Or was that yours?
sure, I can start mine. I mean, that was a blowing up my skirt, but it really blew up my skirt that we went to the Oddities and Curiosities
That
Expo
was
this
fun.
past weekend. There's one that they go all over the world.
Yeah.
But we went to one in St. Louis and saw so much amazing art and taxidermy.
We got some goodies.
We got some goodies.
I will say, though, I look at George Clooney right now,
Mhm.
and I'm so appreciative of the work of him, because there were some bad ones there this year.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't the best, like, they do different things. And
Every
this year,
year, yeah.
there were raccoons with their middle finger smoking a cigarette
Oh,
and, like, a beer can. I was like, how do I make George Clooney hold a cigarette? And how do I break his finger? And I won't.
No.
But, like,
you could probably make him a cigarette that's like what Cruella de Vil
Oh my
had
gosh, one of
on
the
the stick. Yeah,
yes.
you could just put it in his little hand.
we don't condone smoking, but George Clooney's
No.
dead already, so
It's fine if you're already dead.
yeah.
Smoke away.
We'll put one of the bubble cigarettes in his hand. But yeah, that was a good outing.
It was. I think my favorite thing there this year was a couple of booths had amazing fossil and rock collections. And I got a really, really awesome ammonite and is it a troglodyte? Is that what it's called?
Don't ask me.
Whatever that
A little dinosaur.
some little fossil thing, but the ammonite I got
That
was
was
big
so
and
pretty.
chunky, and I saw it at the very end after, like, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but sometimes you just don't see that thing that you're like,
Well,
I have to bring this home, unless
also,
it's
this is such a cool expo, but you gotta have money for a lot of the cool stuff.
yeah, for the stuff that's like, damn, I want to put
Yeah,
that
I
on
really
my
want
wall and
that.
look at it forever. Yeah, you gotta go with I mean, I saw people carrying these like giant taxidermies
Oh, yeah.
around that were,
The one thing I
couple
didn't
grand.
like this year was the taxidermied baboons. And I know we talked about this.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
creepy.
No, I
I don't
No.
dislike monkeys. Like, I don't have a fear of monkeys. I know that is like a relatively common fear.
yeah.
But baboons and their teeth, and
It's
then
because
they
they
had, like, taxidermied red butt.
yeah,
looked
were like
so weird.
painted.
Like,
They were like
yeah.
these weirdly painted red butts, and their faces and eyes just look sinister.
No.
I don't want to be coming home at night and that's in my foyer.
Oh hell no!
No,
Like, I do not want whatever his name from fucking Lion King is staring at me.
Rafiki.
Rafiki. Well, I almost said Mufasa, and that was wrong. God. Ugh.
Oh, yes,
Ugh.
I love Rafiki, but he's to stay in the movie, not be in my
Yeah,
hallway, stuffed
yeah.
and mounted.
Or I
Yeah.
think of the monkeys from Tarzan, and those things are assholes.
Yeah,
So yeah, I didn't like that. But that was a fun event.
it was cool.
My blowing up the skirt is... This will come out before, but by the time you hear the next episode, I will be a first-time home owner. So be prepared for a lot of shit stories to come because I no longer will have a landlord to fix things. It'll be my problem, but
Well,
I'm
you have a
excited.
very supportive family, and there's nothing that can't be hired out, or
That's
you
true.
can make Jacob do, or you do it yourself. It will be all right.
we're going to take bets on how quickly it takes me to take a crowbar to something.
Oh my gosh. You know what we should? Family bets.
we should do a family.
Oh my god. And then say what it will be too. If we really want to
Oh my
make
gosh,
it interesting.
we really should. But guys, like, because of that, Jen and I are going to have endless possibilities for videos because it comes with
yeah.
land
Oh my
and
gosh.
nature.
And
so,
a creek. And
A creek.
it's like
I'm a freak for a creek.
Like a true, like a creek that you wanted to walk as a kid with these huge trees and giant roots sticking out. It is cool. It is a cool
I will
piece
be
of
in that
land.
creek, like, all summer.
Man, please make sure you're up to date on your tetanus shots and wear proper water
I have
shoes.
my water shoes, yeah.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Oh,
All right, guys.
Ugh.
Well, thank you for coming along with us on
Yes.
the blind read.
We look forward to going over more survival stories with you throughout the summer.
Yes, we
So,
do.
and if you have any recommendations, please send them our way. Again, you know where to follow us, where to DM us, wherever you listen to us. We are camping is canceled. And
Leave
again,
us reviews.
yep.
5 stars, please.
And please leave please, if you're going to leave a review, any type of review, we appreciate the feedback with it to know.
Yeah, exactly. Because we want to make the best podcast that we can for you guys, and any and all feedback is engagement
we
and
appreciate
feedback.
it, yeah.
Yeah, we want to hear what you guys have to say. So thank you so much for joining us every week. And as we learn every time we sit down, the world is an absolutely terrifying place, especially if you are living in a 10-block radius in South LA and basically for 25 years. So, like Enietra, remember to have courage and stay kind.
Of a bitch. Bye.